Hi, everyone. I'm just preparing to go live here. 8:06, sitting a little bit late. It's been a tough day. Tell you, I don't know where this 80-degree weather came from. Oof, on the East Coast. So, you know what? I'm probably not even plugged into my
Hi,
computer.
everyone.
No, I'm not.
I'm just preparing to go live
Just
here.
a moment.
8:06, sitting a little bit late.
Okay.
It's
Here
been
we
a
go.
tough day. Tell you, I don't know where this 80-degree weather.
Okay, here we go. I'm back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. There we go. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome, everyone. I'm sorry. I just typed it. I should just delete that and redo it. Okay. Getting along here. Let's get on. We've got a lot to report on, and I don't want to take too long. That's right, Josh. Where we go one, we go all. It's been a rough day. I don't know where this 80-degree weather came from on the East Coast. Hello. Hi, Rob. Rob, I don't want to talk about personal things in the live chat. Thank you. So, I am maintaining my regular reports, as I told you, Rob. So let's talk about this in private. Okay, so everybody, yeah, I've had a little bit of a rough day. It suddenly became 80 degrees here, and I have a broken HVAC unit. So it's very warm where I'm at, and it was it was difficult. But I'll tell you, we made it happen. So let me screen share and I will get right to our POTUS reports as I usually do. And hi, Sherry. How are you, dear? Glad to see you. Thank you for joining me. Okay, let's get down to it and let's start reporting on what's been going on with the president. Let me just see. That's today. We're going to start. I think the best thing to do, because some of this is kind of like old news at this point. So I am going to screen share what's going on here. But I'm not going to go over all of it, folks, because if you've been watching the news conferences, you'll pick up some of the latest headlines, which I repost on Twitter. By the way, Facebook is completely locked me out, so I can't post. It keeps asking me to verify the country of origin, and every time I do this, it still keeps me locked out. So there's no. It's a useless. A lesson in futility trying to deal with Facebook as usual. So what we have is, of course, we had the National Day of Prayer on Sunday, and people were definitely, praying for everybody who was affected by the coronavirus. We did have a letter from the president's physician stating that the president had tested negative for the virus, despite the fact that there were other people. The Brazilian delegation did test positive, so we did have that earlier in the week. If you want to go take a look at these letters, you can go to our blog at thegoldfishreport.blogspot.com. So I'm going to just check in with the chat and see how everybody's doing. How's everybody doing? Let me see. Yeah, I have this little fan on. Absolutely. I have a fan on. Yeah, it's just when it's 80 degrees out, it just pushes more hot air. So I really, maybe we can get some donations so I can get my fan for my air conditioning fixed, because it was really, I'm sitting here sweating and I'm just like, I don't like doing that. And I don't think anybody wants to work while they're sweating. And I've been putting it off because I didn't have the heat. The heat wasn't working either. So now that it's warm, we don't really need to worry about it, but it's a bummer. I don't make income from what I do, so it's tough when things like that break and it's a big expense. But anyway, it's okay. I'm moving along. Let's keep moving along here. Let's go to, so that was the 14th. Okay, that was Sunday. There was also a proclamation by the president suspending the entry of immigrants and non-immigrants of certain additional persons who pose a risk of transmitting coronavirus. So basically what the president's done is, at this point we've closed the borders, and we've also been able to enact emergency measures to actually block people from coming into the country under this national emergency. We all saw this coming, though, one way or the other. We all had to see this coming because, this is part of the, you have to think this is part of the plan somehow, right? Q said a scare event was necessary, but there's really no other way we're going to coordinate taking down these criminals, these satanic, pedivores is what they are. They're pedivore, satanic. Death cult is really what many people call it. So let's just move along. And there's been a lot of like daily press conferences, and let me tell you, folks, these transcripts are very long, and I don't think there's anything here that, in particular, that I should highlight that I don't think that I'm already highlighting. So, because I'm going to be doing kind of like a recap. So, I just want to let you know. In terms of the 16th, we have letters from the press secretary's office regarding the coronavirus task force, and members of the task force also. So they're doing this. They meet every day, and they continually update guidelines based on the reporting that's being done in every state. And they're going to put new models together and make adjustments to what they're telling us. I just found out, funny enough, that there was a curfew. Yeah. Oh, Shari, you're absolutely right. Boy, that is really great. Hi, Dr. Arden. Nice to see you. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Josh, Shari. And again, hi, Rob. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me, Rob. Rob Potter's in the house, everybody. So it was very nice, Dr. Arden. And we have Shari in the house, too. Lots of wonderful people. So, yeah, it's very possible that this is part of the implementation of NESARA. I've heard this from other sources too. So I think there's some, because look, I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes. So let me just get to continuing to report on what the White House has been publishing this week, because I will make a comment on that. So there's been news conferences, and I'm not going to go over what's been talked about specifically in each news conference because they're very long transcripts, folks. You can go and take a look at it. But of course, we did have updates. You can go to our blog and check that out. Okay. So let me just see if there's something else that I want to share with you. Yes. So let's take a look. I'm going to screen share what was going on earlier in the week. Okay. So 1600 daily, we have 15 days to slow the spread. So that was the big deal this week. We all know that this was what the president had asked us for, and we're all in our own self-quarantine in order to prevent the spread of this. So the recommendations are simple to follow, but will be having resounding impact on public health, while the president leads a nationwide response, bringing together government resources and private sector ingenuity. Every American can help slow the virus's spread and keep our most high-risk population safe. I do want to underscore this private sector ingenuity, because at this point, the president is really relying on cooperation with the private sector, who can be implemented in emergency situations. And I don't be surprised, folks, if you see National Guard rolling out, because it's already been rolled out in 18 states. Today, the governor of Illinois issued an order for everybody to stay at home and off the streets, not go to work. So it was basically an order from the governor. So it's getting quite serious, and obviously this is very unprecedented, right? Like, we've never seen anything like this before. But we're seeing little by little by little, more. Giving people time to get prepared, giving people time to go to the supermarket. And what do we find in the supermarket? Before I can continue here, what do we find in the supermarket? Who's been in the supermarket lately? Is anybody? Hi, Victoria. Hi, Jay, the Oracle. Has anyone been in the supermarket? Just comment in the comment section, and just in the live chat, and tell me what you've seen, because I can tell you. Oh, you can go. The best way is to just go to the website, thegoldfishreport.com, and there's a PayPal button there, and that would be really helpful. Whatever you can do would be very, very helpful. So I do appreciate people who are asking how they can help to donate. That would be helpful. Okay, so I was just at the supermarket, and I just learned that there is a curfew in the supermarket. Isn't that a funny place? Isn't that a fun? Yeah, they're bare. See, thank you. Yeah. Isn't that a funny place to learn that there's a curfew? You think the governor would have done something more, something better to inform its citizens, like an emergency text or something. Okay, so what do you want? Okay, so there's nothing in the supermarkets. I mean, nothing. I was like, you'd think that during this past week or two, they would have stocked up by now. They would have had some supply of something. You can't find anything. There's no frozen vegetables, nothing. Nothing. There is no there's like hardly any vegetables, like fresh vegetables. There's um there's no paper products, there's no Lysol, there's no cleaning products, there's no soap. The soap went very quickly. It's crazy. Right. You told your husband you think Trump and company is pulling the biggest sting in the world. Yes, that's exactly what I think the president's doing. And so I was so listen to what happens in the supermarket, right? So I'm in the supermarket. The guy behind me, we're kind of like commenting on how the supermarket didn't have enough cashiers because there were like long lines. And turns out he works at McGuire Air Force Base. And turns out that he was given an order that everybody was sent home. Totally the base closed. And I said, I think, what we're finding out is we're going to find out that there's some, I said, look, if you've been following Pacer, there's 158,000 sealed indictments that need to be acted on somehow, right? I know every day they are being acted on. I do report this. Sherry, I don't know what part of the country you're in, but I'm in the Northeast and they're empty. The shelves are empty. Oh, so someone said that you live in Illinois and your employer um, idled us so we could keep our insurance and draw unemployment. Well, that's nice. That's nice. But in Illinois, yeah, you have a very strict uh, um, order being imposed right now. We have curfews in the Northeast. Um, it's just to protect the businesses, folks. That's why you don't want people taking advantage and exploiting us during a time when we are just trying to do this as a safety precaution and stop the spread. I don't know where you are, Sherry, but the supermarkets are totally empty in the Northeast. But that's good to know. Maybe we should all drive to Sherry's state and go get some food at the supermarket. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving along. Um, Yeah, it's possible that that a VPN couldn't. I don't know. No, you know why, Carolyn Glass? Thanks for your comment. Because they use your phone number to send you a text message to verify your location, and so it's really not even anything to do with the computer. They're not doing it. They do it via text. So they have my phone number, and they never send me the text. They never send me the text code so that I can put it in there and access my account. So I made sure my phone number was in there, and I even removed one that I wasn't going to have access to, and still I can't get my. They won't do it. But this is deliberate, folks. It's deliberate, so it's all we have to say about it. Let me keep moving along, okay, everybody, because we have a lot to talk about, and I want to sum it all up. This is the bottom line, okay? Listen and follow the directions of your state and local authorities. Honestly, folks, if this is the largest sting operation that's going down right now, we don't need to be in the way. If that's what's going on, we certainly don't need to be in the way, and we certainly don't need people out there, spreading germs and stuff. But I think it's most likely, more likely a sting operation that's going on, a major military operation. If you feel sick, stay home. Do not go to work. If your children are sick, keep them home. Contact your medical provider. If someone in your household has tested positive for coronavirus, keep the entire household home. If you are an older American, stay home and away from other people. If you're a person with serious underlying health conditions such as significant heart or lung disease, stay home and away from other people. These were the guidelines as of March 16th. So it was 4 days ago, and it's still, it still stands. Wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds at a time. Wipe down surfaces. It really does. I've seen some people have some real sense of humor on Twitter. Yeah, this woman who was like barely dressed, right? She didn't even have clothes on, and she's like washing her hands, and she's just like, all voluptuous and everything. And she's showing everybody how to. I'm sure they weren't looking at her hands, but I think it at least got the message across to some people who, probably are washing their hands more now. It's funny. So, massive, unprecedented nationwide response. Absolutely. The president declared a national emergency in response to this coronavirus, as you all know, freeing up more than $42 billion in resources for state and localities. The emergency declaration will give healthcare providers on the front lines of this pandemic the flexibility they need to respond. I think, folks, this is where they're really looking forward to private sector providing all those supplies for the healthcare providers. FEMA, I think, has a major stock up. They do have and normally keep a supply of protective gear. So I think that, but there's a limit to that, and sometimes they expire. And when they've been, in storage for a long time. So this is where the president, and of course, the president enacted the Defense Manufacturing Act, which means that basically the president has taken control of commerce, which he is entitled to do and has the authority to do. So he is taking control of commerce, and he's telling, in this time of emergency, we need these private sector manufacturers to manufacture more of this supply or that supply or whatever in order to meet the needs of the emergency. So that's very significant. I think the American people have done a fantastic job. I think everybody is taking this very well. They're following the guidelines for the most part. Most people are staying home. Of course, the schools have responded by keeping the kids home immediately. And it has been, I think it's definitely helping manage the situation better. That's what I think I can truly say. They really have. Everybody has, I think, responded very well. Here's a picture of the president at one of the news conferences there. And so let me just check in with the live chat for a minute and see how everybody's doing. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you. Letting me subscribe to your backup channel. Keeps for saying, whoops, yeah, you see, it's completely, manipulated. They've really tried to keep GoldFish Report off the air and out of search engines and everything. And even on YouTube, you have to really search. You have to really literally put in the whole GoldFish Report name, because even if you put in just goldfish, it's not gonna pull up a suggestion for the GoldFish Report. I've tried this, I know. So, but if you also have what is it? Seeds, you want to do some planting, now's a good time, to make sure you have access to some fresh vegetables and stuff. So it's really important. Let's move along let's see, what day was this? Yeah. Okay, so that was the 16th. We're going to the 17th here, I think. Yeah. What do we have? Yeah. 24 hours of all American teamwork. The president took the podium. We're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days to combat the virus. Okay, so here's it. In case you missed it, folks, this is where you can find it. This is where you can find what these guidelines are. Avoid crowds of more than 10 people. Wash your hands frequently and thoroughly. Work from home if that's an option for you, and disinfect frequently touched surfaces. Isolate yourself if you feel sick. While every American does their part, the White House Coronavirus Task Force is coordinating a nationwide response to protect the health and safety of every community. And the FDA is empowering states to expedite testing, to cut the red tape and avoid bureaucratic delay. And as you know, the president made announcements today, which I'll get to in just a few minutes. Our seniors are most vulnerable to contracting the virus, shouldn't have to travel to a doctor's office. So their telehealth system, which is great. I think that's a great idea, the telehealth system. Very, very good. I have to tell you, though, I mean, I was starting to feel a little bit under the weather, but I think it was allergy related. And the problem with that is if you have some congestion from allergies over time, what happens is it secondarily becomes it can become a bacterial infection. So I started taking oregano oil, which I usually always take, and that knocks it right out, boy, let me tell you. But you have to take probiotics with it because it knocks out everything, and you have to you have to rebalance your flora and fauna in your gut because it if you use too much of it, it might really knock that out of balance. So let me just check in with my guests. Bacon seeds, yeah, bacon seeds. I never heard of bacon seeds. How's my rash, Barbara? Oh my God, it's horrible. It's really horrible. My face is better because I've been using a nano product on my face, which I'm kind of experimenting with. It's a nano-sized particle. It's really an amazing kind of product, but I haven't really talked about it until I'm ready. It's a nanotech. It's a nanoceutical, nutraceutical, nanoceutical, but it's really a wonderful product. So my face is doing really good. And I am using it on my arms, but it's it's not an overnight thing. It takes time. Okay, someone asked for, yeah. No, oregano doesn't only attack bad bacteria. No, I had to take probiotics. I took too much of it. That's why. Yeah. You have the same rash, Barbara? It's eczema is what it is. Um, and I've never had it in my whole life. It's just so weird. Okay, so let me get back to, I'm going to share this product with everybody. I'm going to tell you all about it when I'm ready, when I'm done going through this. But I don't know if you all recall this microwave rash that I had. This not rash. I mean, I was hit in the face with microwaves, and I was burned. I was burned from the inside out, and I can tell you this nano product has been very, very helpful. So, whoever's doing it, I'm a targeted individual and this is what they do to you. Okay, so let me move along. Yeah, there's an update to the 2020 Easter egg roll at the White House. It has been canceled. That's how it goes, right? So here we have coronavirus guidelines. I'm going to screen share this for everybody so you can see. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but if you haven't, these are the coronavirus guidelines. 15 days to slow the spread, which is, I just, repeated it, but this is really officially from the White House and the CDC, what they're saying. Do your part to slow the spread of the coronavirus. This is their official publication on this. Sneeze or cough into a tissue like this, folks, in case you don't understand. And not my viewers. My viewers know, but I think there's a lot of new people, since a lot of people are stuck at home. There's a lot of new people that are going online and checking out videos. So, or sneeze into your elbow like that, so it doesn't spread. Of course, avoid touching your face, which is a big one. We do it without even noticing it, right? Disinfect frequently used items and surfaces as much as possible. So that's important too. So that's really good advice. There were 11 nominations sent to the Senate on Monday. And we can take a quick, oh, I am screen sharing. Never mind. I'm already screen sharing. You can see them here. We have Deputy Undersecretary of Defense. We have one for Consumer Product Safety Commission. We have one for another for Consumer Product Safety Farm Credit Administration Board, Federal Mediation and Conciliation Director, National Labor Relations Board, National Council of the Humanities, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. I'm not saying all the names. I'm just talking about which boards and stuff that are being filled, because the president had all these vacancies and he's still trying to fill them. Here, this is a reappointment for National Labor Relations Board, Employment Opportunity, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and another one for that organization. So that's it basically. The G7 leaders, as you know, COVID, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic as a human tragedy and a global health crisis, which also poses major risks for the world and economy. We are committed to doing whatever is necessary to ensure a strong global response through closer cooperation and enhanced coordination of our efforts. While current challenges may require national emergency measures, we remain committed to the stability of the global economy. We express our conviction that current challenges related to the COVID-19 pandemic need a strongly coordinated international approach based on science and evidence, consistent with our democratic values and utilizing the strengths of private enterprise. We are committed to marshaling the full power of our governments to coordinate unnecessary public health measures to protect people at risk, to restore confidence, growth, and protect jobs, support global trade and investment, encourage science, research, and technology. This is huge because you know how the stock market's tanking right now. And you also know that China wasn't up front with how severe this was hitting them. And as a result of that, it took longer and it spread further. And that did not help, according to the president. So we're going to have to see, there's a lot of industries that are going to be hit hard by this. We know that the stock market's taking a hit, and you should be well aware that that is the riskiest form of investment, and you should plan appropriately for that, folks, just in case. And of course, you know, the G7 has completely made these comments here. You can go through, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay, but you can take a look at what the statement is about the G7 leaders statement and find that out for yourself. Let me go into the next, oh gosh. So the president approves the South Carolina emergency declaration. And there's also a statement from the president. Let me see this one. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So there's a lot of there's so many. This is so much, folks, that I don't want to take a really long time. Just go to the blog and look at all the things that the president's doing. The president was meeting with the tourism industry executives on COVID-19. Obviously, tourism is going to take a hit. President met with pharmaceutical industry, the airline industry, the what else? I mean, there's a number of industries that the president has met with regarding this, and he's going to assure them that they're, you know, going to get help from the federal government. The president's also announcing intent to designate individuals to key administration posts. John Barsa of Florida to be the acting administrator of the United States Agency for International Development. Okay, you can go there and take a look at that. Okay, the rest is stuff I can summarize in another day's post. Partnership with Ad Council. Okay. Here I'm going to just screen share some more from our blog. The president announces intent to nominate and appoint individuals to key administration posts. Oh my God, what did I just do? I'm sorry. I just got like a piece of glass in my foot or something. Not having a good day. So Russell Voigt of Virginia to be the director of Office of Management and Budget. That's an important job, folks. The Office of Management and Budget controls the purse strings. Okay, Joseph Lavorgna has joined the White House as special assistant to the president and chief economist of the National Economic Council. So that's very good. He's going to be studying the effects of the COVID-19 the effects will have on the economy, analyzing high-frequency economic data to gauge the United States clinical dynamics, and keeping National Economic Council Director Kudlow, Larry Kudlow, that is, abreast of key economic and financial developments. Excellent. We have a statement from the press secretary. In order for the United States and Spain to continue, ouch, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. To continue, can you get through this report? Let's see. To devote their full resources and attention to the COVID-19 response. The White House state visit by their Majesties King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain have been postponed. That's a good idea. I think the president should really, really limit his exposure to people. As you know, the president also cut down, there's been new protocols in the White House in the press briefing room in terms of what press is permitted in the briefing room. As you saw probably in some of the news conferences, that it's being spaced out. They don't want people sitting close to each other, and they've limited who can uh, who can be in the room to report um, at this time. So it's very interesting to see how it's changing everybody's behavior. It's just unprecedented, folks. It's so unprecedented. Okay, here's an executive order allocating medical health and medical resources to respond to the spread of the COVID-19. So, as you know, this is also going to be published in the Federal Register. This declaration, as you know, provides a myriad of of uh, support for the president and taking this national emergency, and it allocates funds. And I believe, and this was some other major news this week, right? We'll talk about this in a minute, was the allocation of like funds for all individuals or almost all individuals, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is regarding priorities of allocation of medical resources. And of course, this frees up finances to do that. So that's an important declaration right there from the president. You know, the president's just been so on top of this from the minute he banned travel from China. Before, when everybody was complaining, that, oh, he was taking, overreacting, taking too drastic of a measure, but he was protecting us and he did the right thing. President also intends to nominate Christopher Miller of Virginia to be the director of National Counterterrorism Center, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. So that's another one. Let's see. I don't want to go over the transcripts, folks, because they are so long. They just will take a long time to go through. The White House announces partnership with the Ad Council, major media networks, and digital platforms for COVID-19 messages. Do you hear that, folks? Digital platforms. So that means emergency text messages too. So interesting. So you can go and take a look at this, folks. There's a lot of information here. Public service announcements. This is what it's about, getting information out to people and making sure too that, the mainstream media is going to report things accurately. I mean, they're trying to drive people into fear. They've got all these celebrities out there saying they have tested positive for the virus, but they don't look sick, do they? So I think, they're involved in, I think there's some fear mongering going on, and I just wouldn't buy into it. Let's go to West Wing Reads and see what's going on. Mike Pence needs the American people's help to fight coronavirus now. He talks about that it's a critical time. As the president said, over the next 2 weeks, there are actions that every American can and should take to help us slow the spread of the coronavirus and save lives. So that's important. Medicare said Tuesday it will immediately expand coverage for telemedicine nationwide to help seniors and health problems stay home to avoid the coronavirus. The new option will allow millions of older people to take care of ongoing medical problems as well as new concerns, while heeding public health advice to stay home during the outbreak. And I think that's very prudent information. That's a prudent move on the president's part, for sure. He's got a good team working with him that's making sure that every stone is no stone is left unturned. That every stone is unturned, that everything is taken care of. So here, FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn warns that while the FDA is working full speed to help diagnose, treat, and prevent the coronavirus, there are currently no approved treatments on the market. Well, that was a few days ago. Today we have something. We have the president announcing something else, which we'll talk about in a minute. The Chinese Communist Party's decision to expel journalists from China and Hong Kong is yet another step toward depriving the Chinese people and the world of access to true information about China, including about the origin of the coronavirus, the National Security Council said in a statement. So that's true. Folks, I have to tell you, I've heard a lot of mixed reports about what's going on. I think there's kind of one tragedy going on in one part of the world, and there's like another crisis going on, and it's all under the same name, but I don't think it is the same thing, to be honest. I have my suspicions to believe that, my reasons to believe that something much more nefarious is going on in China, and I may do a separate report just to explain that, because I want to keep this strictly POTUS right now. Okay. Yeah, so, okay. The Judd Deere statement. Okay, so here we have a statement from the White House. Today, Donald Trump had a telephone call with the leadership of America's airlines to discuss the COVID-19 pandemic and next steps. President Trump thanked this group for their willingness to help since the very beginning, when he first cut off travel from the source of the virus, and the enormous flexibility they have provided to the traveling public over the last month, in the months ahead. The CEOs reiterated to the president once again their strong commitment to help the federal government, as well as state and local leaders, any way possible to prevent the spread of the virus and protect public health. The president told the airlines that they are an essential part of our daily lives and our economy. And of course, the government's going to have to be bailing them out as well. And you know what? Why not? We've got all these billions of dollars coming in tariffs now. We have the money, don't we? We're going to have to pay down that debt, or we're going to have to at least, have the USA corporation finally declare bankruptcy, and have the corporation be responsible for those debts, not the American people. You know, just a point of interest. Let me check in with everybody. How's everyone doing? How is everybody? Martial law is already now. I have seen this in visions. I'm sort of like Nostradamus, but not okay. Well, there has been. Yeah, Carnival offered them up to exactly. The Carnival cruise ships have also offered. The president also announced that there were 2 military hospital ships that were being deployed to help out in this situation as well. So um, the worst is coming. It's all a secret and a trick. Well, it's possible that things could get much worse. From what I've heard about China, folks, I'm going to tell you, this is why I did the interview with the Dragons the other day, because um, I was getting different information that they're in China. It's, you know, th- it's a very different story. I'm hearing, yeah, I'm hearing that there's, it was a biowarfare agent that was released. I don't know if it's true, but it was a very deadly thing that should have never gotten out. You know that we're not getting the truth out of the government of China. You know that that we have very hard to get information out of China. It's very hard. It's we have to rely on people who literally risk their life and put it on the internet, get it on the internet somehow to get, yeah, to get you know, the truth reported. I've seen several reports of something that looks like a biowarfare agent affecting these people, killing them. I mean, in an agonizing, horrible death. I'm not trying to generate fear. I don't think that's what we're dealing with, but it might be. It might be that the president knows something more. That's what you heard too, Barbara. Yeah. If that's really what this is, it's so deadly. It's so incredibly, horribly deadly, from what I read. Now, I cannot verify this right now, folks, but please just listen and follow the instructions the president's giving us, and don't take any unnecessary risks. Yeah, people in Alabama standing in lines at gun stores, go for it. That's what our Second Amendment's about. Because, well, we need to make sure to keep the supply chain of food and necessities going. If we can't do that, then we're going to have, and I think thank you, Oracle. That's why we may have the National Guard come out, because people are going to go crazy looking for supplies. They didn't prepare ahead of time, or couldn't for whatever reason. That's why we need to pull together. We really need to pull together. And I've talked about this before, that we really need to look out for one another at this time. That's just what we need to do. March 18th. So this was the press release from that day. Not this, yeah, executive order, as I told you about. Okay, let me see. All right, let me go to now yesterday's latest. We're slowly, uh, crawling. We're slowly getting up to today's latest. Okay, Trump signs coronavirus aid package with paid sick leave, free testing. So let me screen share this so you can see what I'm talking about here. Alrighty, and this is what it is. We have the president on Wednesday signed into law a multi-billion-dollar emergency aid package aimed at helping Americans impacted by the coronavirus. Oh, darn mosquito. I have to keep the windows open now. It's crazy. Here we go. Impacted by the coronavirus. Bipartisan measure. Bipartisan, hallelujah, huh? Resulting from negotiations last week between the Trump administration and Congress. Includes provisions offering paid leave benefits for Americans, bolstered unemployment benefits, and free diagnostic testing for the virus. Okay. Americans know how to rally against an enemy. Our nation was established on the principle that nothing can break us. No force is strong enough to withstand our undying fervor to preserve freedom and enjoy the lives that we choose to lead. Once again, Americans are coming together to defend the nation against a common threat. Exactly. What can only be described as a monument of unconscious self-parody, the media pretended not to understand why Trump would refer to the virus in geographic terms, as if they never heard of the Spanish flu, the West Nile virus, Ebola, Zika, Lyme disease, or many other diseases named for the places of their origin, as if they haven't been doing the same thing for months already. That's from The Federalist, John Daniel Davidson writing from The Federalist. Through a series of lies, blunders, and cover ups, the Communist government of China has intensified the spread of the novel coronavirus. After decades of unethical trade practices and human rights violations, the coronavirus crisis should be the final straw against China's case for global leadership. Okay. Here we're going to talk about the president is supporting American businesses, workers, and families impacted by the coronavirus. We reached an agreement yesterday on new legislative package that will provide strong support for American families and communities in dealing with the coronavirus. Sorry, I'm just sipping my latte. Oh, I have to tell a story about that. I'll do that in a minute. Strong legislative action. President Trump is signing a legislative package that provides extensive assistance to Americans impacted by the coronavirus. Today, President Trump is signing the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This was yesterday, folks, ensuring that American families and businesses impacted by the virus receive the strong support they need. This legislation provides strong economic assistance to American businesses, workers, and families, alleviating financial burdens experienced by those affected by the virus. The act provides free coronavirus diagnostic testing for the American people, regardless of their economic circumstances or health coverage. The president and his administration have worked tirelessly with Congress to secure this legislative package. The administration's negotiation efforts were highly effective and resulted in substantial improvements from the initial bill brought by House Democrats. Supporting businesses, workers, and families, this package delivers on President Trump's commitment to provide strong economic support to Americans harmed by the virus. There's more here. You can read about it. Through every dollar required for paid leave will be offset by tax credits for eligible employers. There's lots of ways. I mean, he is the art of the deal maker, isn't President Trump? So he really knows how to make deals and get things done. This is unprecedented, but you can see what a strong leader he is and how able he is for the job, how qualified he is for the job in this national emergency, and he's handling everything incredibly well. There's more. You can go to the blog here and please read the rest of it. I don't want to read every word because there's just too much. Way, way, way too much. This is text of a letter from the president to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is required by law. This is regarding the second Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act. And this is the one where they're going to be allocating funds for almost every American. They don't think millionaires need an extra $1,000, but certainly most people do, with regard to a sense so much of commerce and their work and business is interrupted, can use that. Family First Coronavirus Response Act. The act makes emergency supplemental appropriations and other changes to law to help the national response to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, where is my sorry. I don't oh boy, I had to run in today. I had to run. Oh, I don't even have my phone on me. That's how crazy it was today. I don't even have my phone on me. Okay, so the president signed into law Representative Payee Fraud Prevention Act of 2019, which establishes criminal penalties against representative payees for embezzling federal retirement annuity benefits. You hear that, folks? Okay. So the president's making appropriations available for public health emergency, federal nutrition programs, employment-related protections and benefits, health programs, and insurance coverage requirements, things of that nature. More nominations sent to the Senate. Virginia, so state of Virginia, Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan, New York. What do we have here? We have judges, right? And other boards. Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. We have director of the Amtrak Board of Directors. That's in Oklahoma. Representatives of the United States of the Executive Board of the World Health Organization. That's in Texas. Boy, I'll tell you, or the fellow is in Texas. United States District Judge for the Western District of Michigan. So if you live in Michigan, you might be happy to know you're getting some more Trump-appointed judges. Here, a member of the Federal Communications Commission. Oh, that's nice, Michael O'Reilly. So he's going to be reappointed. We have Assistant Secretary of State, Western Hemisphere Affairs. We have member of the Board of Directors of the Inter-American Foundation for a term. I wonder if that has anything to do with the Inter-American Human Rights Council. That's because we don't belong to the UN Human Rights Council or Commission. We belong to Inter-American, which is different. And of course, no one ever enforces this anyway. And I have experience with them to know that. Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. So this is good news, folks. We see a lot of news in terms of the president in the middle of this major crisis is still getting the job done. He's still appointing the members of the cabinet and members and other areas that he's responsible for, appointing judges and things like that. He's still getting the work done. He doesn't miss a step. He's really an amazing president. It's really quite impressive, quite honestly. You can not like that he's doing it, but he's definitely doing it. Okay, so as of today, let's talk about what the latest is with the president. All right, earlier, oh, was that? Was that today? Okay, so let me just check in though real quick with my, okay. Yeah, there's some people. It's okay, Louisa. All right, let me keep going, folks. So yes, we're hoping there's a gold-backed currency going to be soon. We'll see. I do know it's already trading. Well, look, I have sources that are saying it's already been trading on the back screens of the Forex. So, but I haven't seen it there myself because I'm not privy to that. But we'll see. That's all I can say is we'll see, right? We'll see if that comes to fruition. So let's get to today, okay? Okay, let's get to today. Okay, so here you have the president making an announcement. It's a message on No Roots, which is First day of spring, Nowruz commences the Persian New Year and is celebrated by Iranians and many others across the Middle East, Central Asia, and the United States and around the world. The past year has been historic for the people of Iran. We saw brave and courageous Iranians stand up in massive numbers across the entire country to protest their government's corruption and demand accountability. So this is very nice. You might want to go to the blog and just read this yourself. But we also know that Iran has been hit very hard as well with this virus or agent or whatever it is. And I think that there's been very, very high casualties there, more so than what they're reporting. Okay. Here, the president is taking necessary safety measures at the border to prevent further spread of the virus. President Trump So protecting public health, President Trump is taking action at our northern and southern borders to prevent further spread of the coronavirus. The United States has reached mutual agreements with Canada and Mexico to restrict non-essential travel across our northern and southern borders. The United States will expeditiously return aliens who cross between ports of entry or are otherwise not allowed to enter the country, as the facilities in which these aliens would normally be held cannot support quarantine for the time needed to assess potential cases. These aliens are processed in stations designed for short-term processing where distancing is not a viable option, creating a serious danger of an outbreak. Just think about it, folks. All these people being held down on the border waiting for their, asylum claims or whatever they're doing, right? You know, they can't stay. They have to stay on the Mexico side because we cannot give them, under emergency conditions, we cannot give them the required emergency distance and other requirements. So they have to go. So this is, how do you like that? How do you like that? Wow, this virus really seems to be solving a lot of problems, doesn't it? Should an outbreak occur at these facilities, local medical facilities would be forced to devote extensive resources and may become overwhelmed, which is very true. It's very true. This action will also protect the health of our country's dedicated border agents and other law enforcement personnel who are vital to the security of our nation. Exactly. How can our border especially our southern border, how could that possibly, be able to handle this kind of emergency, especially with such close proximity they are to each other, and how they spend their time waiting and everything. We'd have such a disaster on our hands if the president didn't invoke this. This action will also protect the health of our country's dedicated border agents, as I said. Trade and business travel will continue to operate across our borders, ensuring workers and goods are not impeded, as long as it's all legal, he said. He stressed that in the news conference. American citizens, lawful permanent residents, and individuals with valid travel documents will be exempted. CBP will continue to process cargo as there has been no identified health threat related to cargo shipments. Entry for trade and business travel will continue to operate with additional screening. Safety measures at the border. Numerous countries around the world, where'd it go? Around the world, sorry about that, have taken safety measures at their borders to stem the spread of the virus. Yes, I can confirm many countries have shut their borders down, have implemented curfews as well. Businesses are shut down everywhere. My co-host Steve in Austria has been keeping me up to date on what's going on there and in Italy. And in Italy, it's just horrible. He says there's coffins stacked in churches. The churches are being used to stack all the coffins in because there's so many dead. Not to scare anybody, but that seems to be what's happening. And I didn't hear that reported on the mainstream media anywhere. That's why we got to have people on the ground. We have to have people there reporting. And I'm surprised I'm not seeing, I'm seeing doctors put out videos on YouTube, but I'm not seeing a lot of Italians putting out videos. They're all they're all making the best of it, singing and dancing from their balconies with each other. God bless them. The president, like dozens of other leaders across the world, is taking protection at the borders. As we said, a number of countries have closed or restricted their borders to neighboring countries, as I just said again. Stemming the spread of the coronavirus, President took action early to restrict travel from China and stem the spread of the coronavirus. American citizens are exempt from the travel restrictions and are being routed to select airports where they can be properly screened. This is because the president took further action to restrict travel from additional impacted areas, including Iran, Europe, the United Kingdom, and Ireland. So as of this moment, folks, the State Department has issued a global level 4 travel advisory, informing Americans that they should avoid all international travel. So level 4 is quite high. It is a warning to avoid travel to that specific location. So that's pretty significant. We have more of the president intent to nominate individuals to key administration posts. Undersecretary for Commerce and Economic Affairs, we have, her name is Mary Toman, and we have Michael Namelka of Utah to be Deputy of the United States Trade Representative with the rank of Ambassador. We have Catherine Sullivan of Colorado to be Assistant Attorney General, Office of Justice Programs. Interesting. If you want to know more about these people, folks, come to the blog and read what they have written here, a little bit of bios. If there wasn't so much news, I would take the time to do it, but there's just too much to report. So what we have here is the latest on the coronavirus response. This is the absolute latest at this point, okay? To help American families and business, the Treasury Department announced that tax day will be moved from April 15th to July 15th. No interest or penalties will be charged for filing during this extended window. But any American expecting refunds or credits may claim now to get their money sooner. To minimize impact on our nation's students, the Department of Education is temporarily waiving all interest on federally held student loans. Oh, thank goodness for that. Secretary Betsy DeVos has also directed federal lenders to allow borrowers to suspend their student loan payments without penalty for at least the next 60 days. Early decisive travel restrictions helped to slow the spread of the coronavirus to our country. Today, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced that the United States and Mexico have agreed to restrict non-essential travel across their border. More help is on the way. The Trump administration worked with Congress last week on a bipartisan deal to deliver economic relief and support for American families, which the president signed into law on Wednesday. More legislative action is expected in the coming days. I will, let me just get a clip here that we can show for you of the president, because this was, okay, here the president's going to talk about this for just a minute, and I'm going to screen share this for everybody. Alrighty, this is from Twitter.
And I think it will. I spoke with at length with Mitch McConnell, and there's tremendous spirit to get something done, so we'll see what happens. But my conversation was very good with Senator Schumer. I thank you all for joining us, and I'd like to begin by providing an update on what we are doing to minimize the impact of the Chinese virus on our nation's students. With many schools closed due to the virus, the Department of Education will not enforce standardized testing requirements, very importantly, for students in elementary through high school for the current year. They've been through a lot. They've been going back and forth, schools open, schools not open. It's been all standardized testing, and, you know, it's we're not going to be enforcing that, so I think you can let the people know. I think probably a lot of the students would be extremely happy. Some probably not. The ones that work hard, maybe not, but it's one of those things. Unfortunate, very unfortunate circumstance. We've also temporarily waived all interest on federally held student loans. They'll be very happy to hear that. And I've instructed them to take that action immediately. And today, Secretary DeVos has directed federal lenders to allow borrowers to suspend their student loans and loan payments without penalty for at least the next 60 days. And if we need more, we'll extend that period of time. Borrowers should contact their lenders but we've given them very strong instructions. So we've temporarily waived all interest on federally held student loans. That's a big thing. That's going to make a lot of students very happy. And we have more to come on student loans, more good news for the students, but we'll do that at a different time. This morning, the Treasury Department also announced that we're moving tax day from April 15th to July 15th. So we're moving it out to July 15th so that people will have time and people will be able to, hopefully by that time, we'll have people getting back to their lives. Families and businesses will have this extra time to file with no interest or penalties. We're getting rid of interest and penalties. However, if you have refunds or credits you would like to claim, you may still file. In other words, you can file early if you are owed money by the IRS. Other than that, we're moving it all the way out to July 15th. No interest, no penalties. Your new date will be July 15th. Today, our team will also provide an update on our continuing effort to prevent the transmission of virus across America's borders. And I watched what's been happening in California with Governor Newsom and this morning with Governor Cuomo, and I applaud them. They're taking very strong, bold steps, and I applaud them. And we're all working together. We're working very closely together, including those two governors. But I would say, based on the call, the media was there. I think we can say that with respect to virtually every governor on that call. I think every governor. We had almost all of them, if not all of them. And I would say that you could see for yourselves that the level of respect and esprit de corps working together was extraordinary. There was nobody angry, nobody upset. We're able to help them, and that's what we're all about. We want to help. We're doing things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to do. But the relationship with governors and states is, I think, very extraordinary, especially under the circumstances where this just came upon us. We're working with Canada and Mexico to prevent the spread of the virus across North America very closely. You heard what we did yesterday with Canada. And Secretary of State Pompeo will be making a statement in a little while having to do with Mexico and the border. And Chad Wolf will likewise be making a statement. There's a joint comprehensive effort in collaboration with our neighbors. The measure and all of those measures that we're putting in place will protect the health of all three nations and reduce the incentive for a mass global migration that would badly deplete the healthcare resources needed for our people. And so we are working very closely with Mexico, very, very closely with Canada. The relationship's never been better. We're all working for toward the same goal. Our nation's top healthcare officials are extremely concerned about the grave public health consequences of mass, uncontrolled cross-border movement. And that would be mostly, and even beyond, but mostly the global pandemic. Every week, our border agents encounter thousands of unscreened, unvetted, and unauthorized entries from dozens of countries, and we've had this problem for decades. You know the story, but now it's with the national emergencies and all of the other things that we've declared, we can actually do something about it. We're taking a very strong hold of that. And we have before, but this is now at a level that nobody's ever approached. In normal times, these massive flows place a vast burden on our healthcare system. But during a global pandemic, they threaten to create a perfect storm that would spread the infection to our border agents, migrants, and to the public at large. Left unchecked, this would cripple our immigration system, overwhelm our healthcare system, and severely damage our national security. We're not going to let that happen. So we have a lot of information, and they'll be discussing that in a moment. To confront these public health degrees, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has decided to exercise its authority under the Title 42 of the U.S. Code to give customers of border protection the tools it needs to prevent the transmission of the virus, coming through both the northern and the southern borders. So we're treating the borders equally, the northern border and the southern border. It's being treated, they're both being treated equally. A lot of people say that they're not treated equally. Well, they are. As we did with Canada, we're also working with Mexico to implement new rules at our ports of entry to suspend non-essential travel. These new rules and procedures will not impede lawful trade and commerce. Furthermore, Mexico is taking action to secure our own southern border and suspend air travel from Europe. So we're coordinating very closely with the air travel going to Mexico and then trying to come into the United States. The actions we're taking together with our North American partners will save countless lives.
I just want to give everybody a little idea of what's going on with the latest that the president's been talking about, and you can hear right from him yourself as well, right there. So we're talking about the top health officials from the CDC and across the government are here to help social distancing, talk about who needs to be tested, is it safe to still donate blood if you have those questions, and also what to do if you feel sick. And here is the photo of the day. Oh, I'm not screen sharing. Let me just do that. Sorry about that, folks. I'll screen share. Here is the photo of the day regarding these meetings. Here you have President Trump leads a teleconference with governors at FEMA headquarters to discuss the coronavirus response. That is because FEMA has completely taken over this operation at this point. That's why. So when he enacted the Stafford Act, that meant that that state and local officials get help. When they exceed their limit, they go to the state for help. When the state exceeds their limit, they go to the federal government for help. So at this point, the federal government is there providing these additional resources for the states to handle this. Now, I wanted to just go, I think that's pretty much it. One of the things that I wanted to screen share was what this breakdown, this cash breakdown looked like. And it doesn't look like it came up. I wanted to screen share it for you, but I'm going to have to tell you because I can't. It didn't come up. All right, so this is the good news, folks. Is everybody still there? Are you still with me? Are you still with me, everyone? Here we go. Okay. The GOP, the Senate GOP direct cash payment proposal for coronavirus, a coronavirus relief, that is. Based on your earnings, it also was referring to based on your 2018 tax return. Okay. If you make $75,000 and under, then $1,200 would be for an individual and $2,400 for a couple filing jointly. 75,000 to 99,000 scales down from $1,200. 99,000 plus, no payments. Adds $500 per child. This is based on your 2018 tax return. What they don't talk about is whether if you have not filed tax returns because you're either working part-time and you don't meet the requirement to file, or you're a caregiver. You could be a stay-at-home mom, or you could be a single mom going through a transition or whatever, divorces, all kinds of things. There's a lot of people. There's also, all the retired people. Where do you fall into that? I think it's too early. This is just the proposal at this time. It's too early to know exactly what the breakdown is going to ultimately be and who qualifies and who doesn't qualify. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm definitely going to be reporting on that. It does sound like NACARA, folks, doesn't it? It sounds like, they're offering this kind of like basic income. So it's interesting. Here, I also want to just screen share our Twitter page with some other news that we have reported on today. We have Governor Cuomo shuts down non-essential businesses. This is a big deal because he has to deal with the whole state of New York. As New York, is one of the hot spots right now with one of the largest numbers of coronavirus cases aside from Washington State. So this is a big deal, but you have to do it. You really have to do it. This is, a moment where the president if you needed any evidence that the mainstream media is corrupted and pushing a fear narrative, this is all the evidence that you need. So I'm going to.
So what do you say to Americans? Nearly 200 dead. What do you say to Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead. I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting. And you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism. Let's see if it works. It might and it might not. I happen to feel good about it, but who knows? I've been right a lot. Let's see what happens, John.
Can I come back to the science and the logistics?
You're going to be ashamed of yourself.
The units that were ordered.
The president owned this guy from Concast, and I don't, knowing what a monopoly they have, all the power to him. It was long overdue that the president, puts these people in their place. So this was NBC's Peter Alexander, owned by Comcast, or Concast, as the president indicated there. We have a lot of other things going on. This is where all the press releases are also found on the GoldFish Report blog, which is the @GoldFish Report. No, I'm sorry. No, it's not that. It's @Report Goldfish. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but when you sign up for Twitter, it reverses your names. I don't know why it does that. It's very strange. This is something that's very concerning. I don't have any other reports on this. It's not a reliable source. Actually, this is express.co.uk. So let me just screen share this because I just wanted people to be aware that, and I'll include this in another video that I do on this, but weird smoke hangs over Wuhan. Is China burning thousands of infected bodies? And I'll tell you, folks, I have a feeling that this might be the case. Let me
也没有车马路，很奇怪一个事儿啊。现在啊，都在家待着，也没有车马路上也没有人，怎么还有雾霾呢？你说这雾霾哪儿来的？很奇怪一个事儿啊。现在啊，都在家待着，也没有车马路上也没有人，怎么还有雾霾呢？你说这雾霾哪儿来的？
Okay, so this is interesting because I do have other videos of doctors stating that they have been given information about they're using like 40 crematoriums. The bodies are being burned, and it's very possible. It's very possible that's an effect. Now, are we going to get accurate reporting out of China about this? No, we're not. There was a conversation that I was able to record that was made public between a Chinese official and a funeral home manager, and they're saying they're getting 4 to 5 times their normal number of people, normal number of cremations, right? They're saying normally when like one person fits in a box, they're having to put like 4 or 5 people in a car. I guess they call it a car. If anybody knows Chinese, can you confirm what they're saying there in that video? Because that would be really helpful. I don't know Chinese. I can't confirm, but I saw the picture, and I'm not surprised over Wuhan. I'm not surprised. I will be doing another report on this, but I think something else is going on there, folks. That's very, very out of control. I'm hearing reports of much, much higher numbers than, and I'm hearing different reports, but I don't want to misrepresent or misreport any of the information. So folks, we've been going for a while now. I just want to kind of close this up. I want to see what's going on in the chat here. We're not under martial law at this time. what's that? Thank you so much. 2020 portfolio. I appreciate that. Yeah, there is definitely. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to bring you information that's thought provoking, information that will help you critically think about the issue that we're dealing with. Because come on, folks. Come on. If this wasn't really that serious and that gravely serious, do you think we would be pulling out these drastic measures when the flu clearly kills far more people? Well, I don't think we're getting the whole story. That's why I think the president's gone to such extreme measures at this point. But I do think that this, in a sense, forced the president's hand at moving at this time. I'm not saying that perhaps these things weren't already. It's possible that the president already had, according to Q, right? The president, there's already an operation going on to do these mass arrests, okay, of 158,000 sealed indictments, okay? So this would be a really great opportunity for that to happen if you're following QAnon, okay? If you follow Q and you realize this is a military operation, it's a big spy operation, then what's happening right now is that there is a massive I'm hearing other reports that there's being troops called in, that there's being possible military action happening. What was funny was the guy in the supermarket behind me was saying at the Air Force base he worked at that they closed everything down, but it might be to personnel like him. I don't know what job he had there, but it could be, so that other it could be used for some other purpose or who knows what. We don't know. Right. Marshall is spelt Marshall for martial law. Right. All right, everybody. That's it. I want to end this report now. I did report on the most important issues that the president talked about this week. Let me see if there's anything else that, folks, there's a lot of stuff that came out in these long press conferences, but you're going to have to go there and get more information. I presented the highlights of everything. There's other videos too that you can look at if you'd like to do that. But these transcripts are very long, and you guys can take a look at that anytime you'd like. What else do we have to report on? Okay, New York City closes marriage bureau amid coronavirus. Oh, okay. One other thing I wanted to report on was, as you can see, I stopped at Starbucks tonight. Yes, I did. Because I thought, I was talking to my blogger friend KP earlier today. How much he loves mochas, and I love my lattes just as much. And we were talking about how we need to make sure we're prepared to have that in case it closes down. In case we can't get access to it. I seemed a little bit more concerned about it. So I said, well, I'm going to go to Starbucks now and I'm going to stock up. Well, when I got there, you know what happened? Place was cleaned out. There wasn't a chair to sit on. There wasn't a table to lean on, nothing. And I thought that's all they were doing. No, that's not all they were doing. Starbucks stores are closing down indefinitely until they get notice to reopen. Yeah. That's what they were told. That's what I was told when I went there. I had 20 minutes left and I stocked up on my lattes and espresso. I was so lucky. I'm really lucky, aren't I? So, and in like 20 minutes, they were closing that store and until who knows when. So only the drive-thrus are open. That's what they told me. So if you're looking for Starbucks, folks, you're going to have to go searching for a drive-through because that's all that's going to be available. But this is not the all the restaurants, all the main, that's already been affected. Is it going to get to the point where you can't leave your house? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to do. But whatever they're doing, they don't want the public to be harmed. They want us to stay out of the way. And so that's kind of the goal from my understanding. Yeah. A cinnamon dolce frap. Get it now, folks, because it's closing. Go get your favorite Starbucks or whatever, because you're not going to, unless you have a drive-through, you're not going to be able to get it. So let me close this out tonight. I want to thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and I will be back reporting more this weekend, of course. I am going to be presenting some information about what I have been receiving in terms of video and information coming out of China. That is, and also perhaps Italy as well. So we will share that. I don't think it's going to be anything like that here. I really don't. I think the president is taking these measures very, for a reason. That's to help prevent that from spreading. But is this also being used as an opportunity to expedite the plan, as Q says? And it's very possible that's what's happening. Okay, so that's what I've got for everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will be back reporting. We have a lot to any updates that happen. As you know, every state by state is different as to what they're implementing, but knowing that the president had a meeting with the governors and a conference call with the governors, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing very consistent um, actions taken. There's definitely some states that may need more help than others, and I think that the government is going to help them with that. But Xi Jinping, is that what Xi Jinping said? The sun will come out after the storm. Yeah, well, look, something's going on, folks. We're not going to know all the details right now, but you know, they want us off the street because deep state players that may be involved in a mass roundup may very well try to retaliate and try to take as many people with them. The ambassador from the Red Dragon Society family was on the other day and said that George Soros has like a year to live and he's going to try to take as many people with him as possible. Now, that's not a statement you're going to hear the mainstream media report at all, ever. But these are inside people who know that, there's some nefarious plan going on and they're trying to implement it. And I would just trust what the president's trying to do right now to protect us all. So that's it, everybody. Blessings to everyone. Peace. Stay safe, stay healthy, and, find some food, protect your family, get yourself, hunker down so that we can get past this and, you know, help support the president and what he's got to do. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what we're saying. We're about Soros. Everybody knows Soros is an evil person, so we definitely all want to see that person, see justice. Definitely. Yeah, KP's wonderful. Yep. When he has time, maybe he'll come back. We were talking about we were talking about like months ago, we were talking about doing a report together, but then like a lot of changes in his life happened and lots of changes in my life happened. So maybe at some point in the future, we'll be able to do that report together. But, KP is a PhD. I don't know if everybody knew that. He has a PhD in chemistry, and we had an interesting conversation today. I'm not going to talk about, I usually would never talk about my private conversations, but he is a chemist, has a PhD in chemistry, and he did recognize that this adrenochrome, he saw the chemical structure of it, and he said when you invert it, it does look like a rabbit, but it's not white. He did say that. So it was interesting though, because he was trying to, he was thinking whether this was, part of the analogy of the white rabbit. But I'm sure when KP's ready, he'll come and talk about that as much as he can. But we have seen that running across Twitter today. So everybody, thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. I will be back and I will be reporting more news from the president as it comes in. So have a great night. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you all very soon. This concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.